Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. With my wife and kids, we run an antique shop in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, filled with some of the most unique items we can find. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc.
From home, honey.
Hey guys, and welcome to today's episode. If you've been following me and my channel for the last few years, you probably know that I love to find cool stuff. From ancient artifacts right through to King George's Royal Tour car. We found, boy, what else has come out of this place? Sir John Franklin's wedding gift, which was a little boat anchor. All kinds of cool stuff. Houses full of pottery, houses full of jewelry. There's no end to the type of antiques I've been able to find over the last few years. And I'm based in Edmonton, Canada, which is kind of a northern city. And you'd think that it's the epicenter of cool, weird stuff. But I've had a nose for digging out some cool stuff. And honestly, last night was another one of those nights. I was invited over to a gentleman's house. He was a radio disc jockey back from the 70s through to the 90s, early 90s. And as a disc jockey, you have access to things that your average person doesn't. Old programs and press kits and things like that. But when you're a disc jockey who's a Beatles fan, you probably keep your eye out for more special and unique things that your average person couldn't get. So this goes back to 1980 when this gentleman acquired this stuff that I'm about to show you. And it's just astounding that it's been sitting this whole time in somebody's basement here. But the time is 1980. And you have to go back and I'm going to tell you the little story first, and I'll get into the stuff that I bought from him in a second, but I'm going to tell you a little story first. So it's December 1980, December 6th, specifically 1980. Andy Peebles, who's a British radio presenter or disc jockey, gets flown out from England to go and interview John Lennon, who's living in New York at the time. Andy is a big John Lennon fan. And he's really excited to go meet him. He's got a crew with him. They go to New York, they get some studio space. And there's a big buzz that John Lennon's doing this interview. People are excited about it. Andy's excited to do the interview. In fact, fans have come and they're getting their autographs signed. And John's out there being cordial and signing autographs for people, records and pictures and all kinds of stuff. Now, normally an interview with a celebrity lasts probably 20, 30 minutes or something like that. But they got chatting and they built a rapport. Andy and John were chatting and having a great time. Yoko Ono was there. And John just started kind of spilling about his life and his passions and his love. And it ended up becoming a 3-hour-long conversation. And they talked about everything in great depth and detail and just had a wonderful time. They went for dinner afterwards. John apparently was wearing a silvery jacket with a fur collar, just looking like $1 million. And I think it was Chinese food that they went out for, if I recall. And Andy said his goodbyes. They had a great visit. He gets on his airplane. He heads back to England. I think it was the next day. So he's on the flight on his way back. And this is a couple days, I guess, after they did the interview. So it's December 8th now. So while he is on the airplane, flying back, he has some turbulence, he's feeling uneasy. Andy lands, gets off the plane, makes a phone call, finds out that while he was on the plane, John Lennon was shot. And not only was he shot on, I think it was December 8th was the day that he was shot. He was shot right after they did the interview and shot by one of those very fans that he was signing autographs for, Mark Chapman. Tragic event, tragic turn of events. And it rocked the world. And not just did it send ripples throughout the whole world where people were doing coverage on his death. It was big news, big news. Andy was never really quite the same after that. He was the last person to really talk to in depth John Lennon before John Lennon passed. What a thing to happen. But there was this interview out there, this great 3 hours long of conversation with John Lennon that became John Lennon's last interview. So BBC, what they did around December 9th, when they kind of announced to the world that John Lennon had passed and was deceased, they put out a a recording, sort of a eulogy to John Lennon, and it was using bits from Andy Peebles' interview, the last interview, as well as a retrospective of the music and prior interviews. It was a really great presentation. That made its way to several radio stations, and then basically that particular recording was gone. So the original 1980 BBC recording was only used for a very short amount of time, and then it was gone and off and disappeared, which you can actually hear from the masters. I think they posted some of it on YouTube and stuff. So if you look, you can look and find it. But what I found last night was really, really cool. Let me show you. What our dear friend, the disc jockey here in town, did when he found out that John Lennon had passed, he actually asked to keep back the BBC's official 8-inch reel-to-reels of not just Andy Peebles' last interview with John Lennon, the Lennon tapes, but also BBC's presentation of the life of John Lennon that was done on December 9th. So this is the complete original set. These are tapes that were cut from the masters. These were BBC official transcription programs from 1980. And when you go in here, they did their retrospective, John Lennon 1940 to 1980. This is from, I think, a day or two after he passed on. They put this out. And we've got Andy Peebles talking on December 6, 1980 in New York. And this is the tribute series that came out from that. So here we have the original BBC transcription service set of Andy Peebles' final interview, as well as the program they did, the retrospective on John Lennon in several parts. I don't know where a person would find another one, to be honest. In fact, most of these, if there were some that were sent out, so please return after broadcast to BBC Manulife Center. So a lot of these were meant to be kind of taken back and stored or were destroyed. So the fact that these still exist is actually kind of crazy. They're not meant to be out in the public like this. I'm not meant to be sitting here at my little table in my antique shop with former BBC stuff, but how cool is this? And it has all these original, all the original paperwork that goes with it too. So when you look at it, you know, recordings are supplied in accordance with the conditions of supply between BBC and their authorized agents. And we've got the original duplicate copies here from when it was shipped and dispatched and sent out. So here we have the original shipping dispatch. So this was, the original broadcast was quite literally like the day after John Lennon passed away. He got these copies after they'd already made their rounds. So the original tapes were sent January 8th, 1981. They were sent to CKRA-FM in Edmonton, the radio station. BBC Rockline 196. So this is when they made their way to Edmonton, and this is where they've been ever since, you know, a couple months after John Lennon passed. These original BBC pressings. And so you end up with a set like this, and there's 12 of them there to complete the set between the Andy Peebles interview and the BBC program on John Lennon. I cannot find another one for sale. I don't know what they go for. I have no idea what the things sell for. I can tell you this much, they're rare. I don't think that there's too many copies like this floating around out there, especially with all their paperwork and everything like I have with these. So when I bought them, I pretty much just made a wild guess. And they accepted my offer. And last night I was thinking, man, you know what? These things are probably worth more than what I paid. So I think what I'm going to do is that whatever I end up selling these for, and I have no idea how or when or what they're going to sell for, but I think they're worth more than what I paid, which is the point of having a business. You sell stuff for more than what you paid, but I think they're worth a lot, maybe a lot more than what I paid. I wrote them this morning and I said, you know what? We'll just split it right down the middle. So whatever these things end up going for, these great historical, cool John Lennon documented reel-to-reels go for, I'm going to give half of it back to those people. I think that's only the right thing to do. They've been such good stewards of them for so long in their possession since, you know, I mean, heck, we're talking like 40 years here almost that they've had these. So I think that it's the right thing to do. But I don't know where to go from here. I don't know what a person does with 12 original BBC John Lennon broadcast reels, you know? What does a person do with that? So I guess my next step now is probably to try and find maybe like an auction house or somebody that deals with this stuff. I know there's a lot of Beatle fans out there, a lot, and there's a lot of John Lennon fans out there, a lot. So somebody out there watching is going to think, hey, that's really cool. You know, Andy Peebles, the last known recording of John Lennon, you know, recordings of that were printed from the masters in their BBC boxes with all the transcription details and broadcast info. That's a pretty cool set for a Beatles fan. So I guess now my next step is try and find a buyer, try and find a home for these things. Get it out there. So I'll start circulating and start doing it. But guys, I just thought it was such a cool find. I had to share it with you today. I guess we'll see what happens, and you'll have to stay tuned. This will probably be more than a one-part thing. We'll probably do a couple parts as we not only discover more about them, but also put them up for sale and see what they go for. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I can do well for the our friend, the disc jockey, who was the steward of these for so many years. Hopefully we can get him some good money back in return. But man, what a good find today, hey? You never know when you're gonna go into a basement and find original BBC recordings with John Lennon and Andy Peebles, and especially his last known interview ever. So cool recordings, a cool find. More to come on that. I hope you liked today's short but kind of sweet episode. If you want to check out our channel more and see the other content we've had, you got to go back through some content because there's some stuff. Trust me, folks, there's some stuff to see. But this is part one of an adventure. Let's see how we do on this and see how it goes. So I'll update you guys when I can. But thanks for watching today's little episode. Even more, my Abbey Road Peanuts Gallery t-shirt today in honor of the event. So really cool, really fun day. And yeah, I guess I've got some work cut out for me. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more. There's going to be updates. Bye for now, guys. See you then.